Hello, you guys. Welcome to 2026. We freaking made it. It is officially the new year. We've got new goals, new promises, new energy. But I just have to start out by saying, if this is the year that you lose the weight for the last time, it's not going to be because you tried harder. It is going to be because you stopped negotiating with yourself. So we're going to get into this, but I have to just talk about what we're doing inside of this goal body world for January. And that is our theme for this month, which is rebrand. We're going to get into this a little bit more, but I just have to tell you straight out of the gate here that rebrand is not another 30-day challenge. This is not like new year, new me hustle. Instead, this is an identity upgrade. This is installing a new default, your goal body default, which is literally what we're going to do inside of this episode. And this is so that fat loss becomes inevitable and you stop relying on hype and motivation and willpower. And instead you start operating from standards that you can actually keep so that you can actually keep your results. So I'm super excited because this month across the podcast, across my YouTube channel, my socials, and my insider email community, free email community, I am going to be walking you through the exact system that helps you end the start over cycle. So we're going to talk about the standards that you can actually keep. We're going to talk about the structure and the strategy that makes this whole thing livable, right? I'm talking about busy days, stressful days, all of that. And then also the recovery skill. This is where we really make it permanent and we actually keep our standards and we actually keep our results. And so this is for the woman who wants her goal body to become her new normal. And this month we're doing it together. So I just want to say I am super excited to get this underway, but make sure that you are subscribed to my email list because I am going to be sending out a rebrand kit specifically to the email list. I've put together just an awesome little kit that will help you put everything into play, everything we talk about on the podcast this month, everything on YouTube, across my socials. This is where you'll really be able to put pen to paper and take action on it. So make sure that you check out the link at the top of the show notes. Make sure you're on the email list. And I am so excited to get into it. So let's go. Welcome to Get Your Goal Body, the podcast for women who are done with starting over, done with diet drama, and done playing small. I'm Hillary, mom, nutrition and psychology expert, and fat loss coach, and the woman who lost 100 pounds naturally and kept it off for a decade. This isn't about quick fixes or crash diets. Here, we do real transformation, sustainable nutrition that actually fits your life, eating food that you actually love, a mindset that rewires your results, and an identity upgrade you'll keep forever. If you are ready to burn the rule book, rewrite your story, and finally live in your goal body permanently, you're in the right place. No more excusing old patterns and no more delaying your goals. Let's raise your standard, break the cycle, and make this the last time you ever start over. Welcome to my world. Let's get into it. All right, ladies, well, welcome back to the show. If you're new here, welcome. I am so glad. Okay, I'm going to try not to say I'm so excited 5 million times, but let me just get it out of the way. I genuinely am so pumped for 2026 with you guys. I hope that you had a wonderful holiday season, that it was full of rest, family time, good food, memories, all that good stuff. I, for one, have not been shy in sharing that I was ready to usher 2025 out the door and welcome in the new year. So I'm so glad to be on the other side of it. Any updates that I have? Well, I guess the biggest one is at the end of this month, I am having a total hysterectomy. I hadn't really talked about it, and then I shared a little bit on social. If you've been here for a long time, you know, I've been dealing with health issues for several years now. And it all started with one whole crazy incident where I lost an ovary and my tubes. And then perimenopause kicked in, even though I had an ovary and it was supposed to be doing its job, it wasn't. And we're getting rid of that. I will go into surgical menopause, which is kind of scary, but also I'm so excited because I have an incredible doctor who is going to ensure that my hormone replacement and everything is so solid. And honestly, I'm just going to be grateful to be stable because I am not with the current situation that I am in. And so I'm looking forward to that. Also, just the hysterectomy side of things, I've had so much pain. 2025 was really difficult behind the scenes, and we exhausted every single option. So I just want to say, because one reason I didn't share it at first, I talked about like, I might do it, and like the unwanted horror stories, I don't need them. I can appreciate them, but I don't need them. And so if you have any good stories about your hysterectomy and how it was life-changing, I have heard so many of those from you guys since I shared, and then also just the positive HRT journeys. So I am looking forward to being brand new. It's kind of weird because that's in a couple weeks, and it's like I'm kicking off the new year and I'm like, let's go. And normally I'd be getting so into my goals, but it's like things are going to come to a bit of a screeching halt because I'm not going to be able to lift weights for 8 weeks, which is like the hardest part, and just the whole recovery process. But that's really the only new news from me. I will be sharing about this journey because it's a part of my life. So I think the biggest thing is, even if you can't relate to the surgical menopause HRT, which a lot of my ladies can, because a lot of my clients are going through perimenopause and menopause and getting on HRT. But the bounce back and recovery that I'm going to go through, I really want to document that, because even though I have a good foundation, I will be rebuilding in a lot of ways. This year was really tough on my body, and so I'm going to be rebuilding muscle, just kind of getting back to myself. So I'll definitely be documenting all of that, sharing the journey along the way. But I am super pumped to get in today's episode. I got notes. Your girl's got notes. I've got notes here. I've got notes here. So let's just like dive right into this. So obviously January, it has like the loudest marketing, right? But unfortunately, I feel like that loud marketing really lends itself to sometimes have the lowest like follow through. And I talked about this with my personal coaching clients inside of Goal Body Coaching. You know, I don't really care how hardcore you start. I care like, how are we going to keep it going? And so when I was thinking about planning the sort of campaign for you guys this month on the podcast and socials and YouTube and all of that, email community, I was like, I want to make sure that whatever we do, it is on brand for me and how I want to show up for you guys, because I know that so many women can start hot, can start strong, but then we don't hold steady. So literally every single thing that I am going to be talking to you guys about inside of this month and beyond, because let's be real, this is what I'm always talking about, is really about ensuring that we don't just like, woohoo, but we keep it going. Okay. So again, like this month can lend itself to all the hype, but then no true follow through. And truly, this is not because you're broken. I need to say this like straight out of the gate here. It's not because you're broken, and the whole like I'm broken narrative is not a diagnosis. It's just a story. Like, it's my least favorite story. That story keeps you so stuck. So many people are preying on you with this. They want you to believe you're broken because whatever reason. I'm here to tell you, no, you're not broken. You're absolutely not broken. This is just a story. And unfortunately, this story keeps you stuck in victim mode. It keeps you looking for that one perfect plan, the one that's finally going to fix you and save you, and wasting a lot of energy on that instead of building the skills that are actually going to get you results, make your results literally inevitable, and then also keep it moving. Like, who cares if you can lose 10 pounds if you're just going to gain it back, right? So I feel like most plans are built on motivation, willpower, temporary January hype. But the way that I always look at it, and this is what I was talking to my clients about, is motivation is a spark, right? It's this little spark, but it can get you started. But defaults, which is what we're going to talk about today, are a steady flame. And I just want you to like picture this for just a minute, okay? As we go into this year, I know you want to lose this weight. I know you're sick and tired of gaining and losing it back and feeling like you're stuck in this perpetual cycle. So I want you to literally start visualizing like how you're showing up, what you're doing, your mindset around these things, right? Motivation is just a spark, but your defaults, how you show up on autopilot, is a steady flame. And if you think about it, a spark can help you lose 10 pounds really fast, but that spark's going to go out. And guess what comes back when the spark goes out? The 10 pounds, right? So with all of that, we don't want to focus on motivation. We want to focus on these defaults. That's going to give us the steady flame where we lose the 10 pounds and then we lose the next 10 and the next 10 or however much, and we keep it. We actually keep it steady flame, okay? Defaults are what you do when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're busy, overstimulated, and life is lifing, right? Like if we're talking about motivation, what goes out the door at the first sign of stress, sickness, whatever? Motivation, therefore results, right? So instead, we're gonna set these defaults. We're not gonna focus on perfect January, and instead, we're gonna install a new normal. This is what we're gonna do together. We're gonna install a new normal so that you can do this in real life, not just in calm life or hype life. And so by the end of this episode, for sure, you're going to understand my 3-part goal body default. This is a framework that I want you to apply right here, right now. And you're going to start building yours. And over the rest of this month, I'm going to be breaking down each piece of this a little bit more so that you can install it for good. So I'm super excited. So, okay, let's get into this. First, I feel like we have to kind of make some definitions happen here. Also, let me get comfy because we're here. Okay, so let's define some of this clearly. So first things first, rebrand. I have to say, rebrand, for some people, that's like a vibe. But to me, rebrand is not a vibe. It's not an aesthetic. It's not the I'm that girl now all of a sudden in January, like on January 1st, after you've been not being that girl. Rebrand is a behavioral identity change. And it's funny because I started seeing, obviously this word is really hot and popular right now, but I started thinking about using the word rebrand to build either a program. I wasn't sure where I wanted to go with it back in September of last year. And I was I think I might build a program called Rebrand because I just love the word. And I love that it's really rooted in actual behavior change. And so then when I didn't create a program, I was ooh, perfect. We're going to use this for January. This is what we're going to do together in January. And what I want you to realize when my definition of rebrand is that we're really talking about when your actions match the woman that you say that you're becoming consistently. Anyone can say that they're rebranding, they're that girl, they're becoming her, right? All of this for a fleeting moment. But to me, rebrand is kind of serious. It is about matching your actions with what you say that you're going to do consistently. And you don't just become her by declaring it. And you've got to really start to see that if you're somebody who kind of falls into the hype of I'm going to do it, and then you're falling off, it's time to, and I think by the end of this episode, you will have the realization that we've got to stop going with the hype stuff. And we've really got to start rooting ourselves in stacking proof, being consistent. And the goal is not to be intense. The goal is to become unshakable. Let me just rewind that one back. The goal for rebranding is not to be intense. I'm not talking about like going into your closet and throwing away all your clothes and like creating a whole new wardrobe or, redoing the whole house or anything. Like, we're not talking about intensity. We're talking about consistency. We're talking about becoming unshakable, where your foundation is so solid that nothing can break you. So to me, when I think about like forever fat loss, which is something I say all the time, forever fat loss, there's two things. Number one is what you do by default, which we're going to talk about. And number two is what you do when real life happens, how you respond to that, which we're also going to talk about. So to me, that's rebranding. I just need to say that. You might be like, woohoo, like all hype about this whole rebrand thing. But I just want to plant my flag in the ground that I'm not here to just be like hype for a moment. I'm here to help you change your life, like not temporarily, like forever. So that's what rebrand means to me. That if you're like vibing on that, that's what we're going to do together this month. So I'm super excited. And then default. So I'm going to use this word a ton. If you're in my programs, you already know I talk about default quite a bit. So here's what I mean when I say default. Your default is that automatic setting, okay? This is your go-to behavior when you're not actively like thinking and trying and like white knuckling through, right? And the thing is this is very rooted in science, pulling out the psychology major here. This is really rooted in science. Your brain has a lot of jobs. And one of the main things that it is meant to do is to save energy. Like it literally wants to save energy. It doesn't want to have to think. That's why you get like brain dead and tired, right? With like constantly thinking and all of this, right? Your brain wants to conserve energy. And the way that it does that is it runs on patterns and loops. So many women think they're broken, they're the problem. What they don't realize is you're literally just like science. Like your brain is just going to default. It's just going to run these loops and these patterns. Your brain loves familiarity. Familiarity feels safe. It feels comfy. It feels cozy. Even if your higher order self, the becoming her rebranded version, doesn't want to keep repeating those patterns, knows that what you're doing isn't getting you results. Doesn't matter. Your brain is still going to run on these defaults. So if your current identity default is, I am on track until nighttime comes and then I'm eating everything in the pantry. Or I'm good during the week, but then the weekends come and I am like off the rails. Or maybe your default identity is if I mess up, if I have that cookie in the break room or whatever, then I've already blown it for the day and now the week is ruined. I may as well just start over next Monday, right? So with that, you can have the best plan in the world. You can have the best coach. You can have like the perfect framework. But if you still keep repeating the same cycles, if you're still stuck in that default identity, then this is where you're going to keep getting pulled back. And this is why the title of this episode like really matters. Negotiation is what happens when your goal body self wants one thing. She's like, I'm going to do this. I want to reach these goals, change these patterns. I want to look so freaking hot this summer. And that is that one-sided, like, I know what I want. I know what my goal body wants. But your default wants another. And the negotiation is what is happening between these two. Old default patterns, goal body self. And then we're negotiating. And you can spend all day, all night arguing with yourself because the system that you are trying to build this goal body on is, again, built on effort and white knuckling and having enough motivation and energy to show up for it, instead of built on identity. So with this idea of rebranding, what I'm really trying to help you do this month and beyond is I'm trying to stop the argument. I'm trying to stop this negotiation that is happening with yourself by installing a new default. Like, think about it this way. How much easier is it going to be to just live if you're not in this constant mental tug of war?
So what we have to do is install new defaults that require less brain energy, less drama, and make it easier to follow through. Like, following through doesn't have to be hard. Right now, it might feel like you're really far away from being somebody who consistently follows through, but you absolutely can change this. The best news of all of this is your brain can change. You can train your brain, this is my favorite, to be totally different. And like, you're never too old, you're never too far gone. Like, ooh, I have goosebumps. I'm so excited. Okay, let's get into this. I want to give you the 3 parts that are going to help you change your default. Okay. This is my full framework for this here. Okay. And again, we're going to get into this a lot deeper into some other episodes, my YouTube. I'm going to literally show you how to build some of this out, but let's get this like understanding of this 3-part default framework. Okay. So we've got standards, we've got structure and strategy, and then we also have recovery. So let's talk about this. This is going to change everything for you. Okay, let's talk about standards first. This is what you have to install first. I want you to think of this literally. You guys know, if you're a longtime listener of the show, I am all about like, how can we like apply this in a way that really like sticks? So I want you to literally think about like, you're a computer and we are like installing this into you. Okay. So those old outdated identities, frameworks, old temporary fix, quick fix, fad dieting, all of that can be replaced by installing this new default. So here's what we're going to do first. First, we're going to install standards. This is part 1, standards. So this is what you do no matter what. And if you hear me talk about this on the podcast, on social, it is a word that I use over and over and over again. Some people might say non-negotiables. Like, there's a million ways to slice and dice this. I love standards. I think it's because just who I am personality-wise, but also the women I work with are smart, successful, high-achieving, strong women. And like, standards is something that we can really feel like aligned with and tied to. And so you could think of this as non-negotiables, but we're going to call it standards. And your standards are what you do no matter what. Okay. So this is the what. We're going to talk about the how in step 2, but this is the what. Standards are the promises that you keep to yourself, even on a normal day, yes, but also a busy day, a stressful day, and an imperfect day. And here's the deal. You do not need 12 standards or 12 non-negotiables. You need a few very simple standards that you can keep installed into you. And the thing about standards is, this is like I think a missed part of it for so many women, is so many ladies have mistrust with themselves. They don't trust themselves. And so standards help you rebuild or even create for the first time self-trust. And self-trust is what builds momentum. You do something once, you're like, ooh, I am that girl. You do something twice, you're like, okay, I did it again. Third time, oh, I really am becoming her, right? So you repeat your standards over and over and over again, and it builds your self-trust, it builds your momentum, which gives you results. All right. So when it comes to standards, like, what am I talking about? What does this look like? So again, if non-negotiables helps you think about this a little bit differently or sticks with you a little bit better, then you can totally use that. But some examples of some standards I've used, my clients have used. So this can be like a protein forward, like anchor in your meals, right? So when you order a meal, you're going to make sure that it is protein forward. You know that when you do that, you feel good, right? Like, protein's important, yada, yada, yada. And so it is a standard of yours that when you order a meal, you are going to make sure that it is protein forward. Another standard could be your daily or even your weekly movement, because sometimes we have to be careful. Not everything is a daily, right? So weekly movement, right? It is your standard that you move your body for 20 minutes minimum every single day or at least 5 days a week. Maybe your strength training is really important to you. You get your strength training in a minimum standard twice a week. Or your steps, you go for 4 walks per week. I'm just throwing out examples. You're going to have to make this work for you. So those are 2 examples of standards. Protein forward meals, your movement can be your standard. It could also be the way that you structure your meals, right? So you make sure that you eat 3 meals a day. Or how you build your plate. It could be that you have protein and at least 1 serving of produce. Another standard could be your hydration baseline. It could also be your boundaries. This is one, like simple boundaries are really great for standards. So think something simple, I think very like kind of basic and beginner could be like 2 servings of veggies a day. Very, very doable standard, right? Maybe a little bit more advanced, but eating only until satisfaction, not overstuffing yourself and getting full. I think that one takes a little more practice for some ladies. So that could be more advanced, but once you're further into your journey, you're more solid in it. It's definitely once you're into maintaining and living in your goal body, that is like a really solid standard, not overeating, right? So again, these standards are going to be these boring baseline things that you can hold no matter what. And so for me, when I think about my standards, I definitely have several, but one of them that really stands out to me is my protein forward breakfast. I will not miss this standard. If I miss this standard, I am sick or it is like literally physically impossible. I will always find a way to have a protein forward breakfast. It is an anchor in my day. It is a standard that I have set for myself. And when I was in fat loss, my standard was absolutely pre-logging my food, okay? And it wasn't because I was trying to micromanage or obsess over it. It was because by pre-logging my food, it just removed the decision fatigue. I didn't have to think about it. When I decided ahead of time, guess what I didn't have to do? Negotiate with myself, right? So I see a lot of times like women inside of my coaching programs, they can lose 10 to 15 pounds on intensity, right? It's like what I was talking about. You can lose 10 to 15 pounds on intensity when you're hype and you're motivated and you're excited. But that's not what keeps the weight off. What keeps the weight off is that they have very clear, simple standards that they have set for themselves. So again, your goal body is built on boring standards that you can hold. So this is the first thing to really think about for yourself as you're installing this new default, what you just automatically turn to. I want you to think about what are those realistic standards for you. Okay, part 2. This is like the meat of it. That's the baseline. That's like the first thing. But now is structure and strategy. This is part 2. Remember, the standards are the what. What are you doing? What is that baseline? Structure and strategy is the how you set up your day or your week to win. So structure is what you put in place so you don't have to be strong all day. Remember, your brain has a million other things pulling it in a million other directions. If you have to like be strong and use willpower, I just want you to think about this. Like if you're not succeeding right now at what you are wanting when it comes to your weight loss goals, I want you just to think about, is what you're trying to do, are you having to like white knuckle and like use willpower like all the time? Again, structure. The entire goal of creating a default structure is so that you don't have to be strong all day. Again, it goes back to this really like automatic behavior that you just do effortlessly. So structure is what you put in place. Then strategy is how you handle situations, right? So the situations that might derail you, may have previously derailed you. This is where the standards are the what, and the structure and the strategy are the how. And this is where fat loss really truly becomes like livable, because so much like weight loss programs and trying to, any weight loss plan can work, right? You know that you need to be in a calorie deficit. You know you need to eat your protein, but it's not livable for so many women because they're missing a tried and true having their standards set, that identity strong, and then having structure and strategy that actually works with their life. The biggest mistake that most women make, they build one plan, the normal day plan. But not every day is normal. So when a stressful day hits, when a social dinner happens, you get invited to something, when you're exhausted, your plan breaks. And you think, see, I knew it. I just can't be consistent. I just can't do this. What? No, your plan didn't include real life. You built one plan for a normal day or when willpower is high. And that doesn't include real life. It's just not realistic. So by creating this sort of structure and strategy as a part of your goal body default, it includes your real life. So some structure examples. Okay, so this is like weekly grocery and meal plan rhythm that you can repeat. Not reinvent every week. The structure side of things is really that tactical stuff, okay? So thinking about, obviously your food, your nutrition should be your first focus in fat loss and is also going to be one of the most important parts in maintenance, right? So when you think about your weekly planning, grocery planning, meal plan rhythm, meal prep, that is a structure, making sure that it's really solid, it's really sound, and it's really repeatable. Again, you're not trying to reinvent every week and, oh no, I forgot I need a meal plan. So a lot of strategy into when you're going to do this, how you're going to do this, so that it just becomes repeatable and easy. Another structure example is having like a staple meals, a handful of staple meals, staple foods that you can rotate on autopilot. This is one of the first things that you do inside of the goal body method, our fat loss framework, the diet side of things, is you create a staple meals sheet that has meals and foods on it so that you're not reinventing, trying to pull things out of thin air when it comes to meal planning every week. You're scrolling Pinterest, now you got a notification, you're over here, you're looking over here, and you're stressed out trying to like think of what you want to eat. When you have structure in place that makes it repeatable and makes it easy, you can just do these things on autopilot. It becomes so much easier. Same thing with thinking about workouts, scheduling them in like they are appointments, your calendar strategy. I've talked about this so much. If your kids are in activities, if you guys are constantly going and doing, you've got appointments, you've got work obligations, all of this stuff, your calendar strategy needs to be really solid, because where are you fitting in your meal planning? What are you having for dinner? Does it need to be a slow cooker meal, right? Okay, that day you can't work out because you have a hair appointment or something. So when are you going to change the workout and move it over here? This is really just having like a solid calendar and a structure for scheduling these things in so that they're a priority. And again, this is that structure side of it that makes it easy. You might hear me talk about this and be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot to think about. No, what's causing you to feel mental expense and energy is trying to piece it all together in the moment, trying to be reactive instead of proactive. So really, structure is that proactive thinking about it ahead of time so that you're just following the plan. You're just moving on autopilot, having a default morning or evening routine that supports your goals, getting your gym bag ready, whatever it is. So those are some structure examples. And then when it comes to the strategy also like synonymous with like situations. Okay. So certain situations like eating out. This is like a number one, eating out. So you literally can create a strategy that you're going to follow for eating out, right? Deciding your anchor before you go. Maybe it's, again, that protein forward meals. Maybe you're really focused on the portion size. Maybe you're focused on, okay, I'm going to have one intentional indulgence and the rest of the meal is going to look like this. But you've thought about it ahead of time. There's intention behind it. There's strategy behind it. What's another popular one? Weekends. Hello. I'm doing a whole YouTube video showing you the fat loss strategy for weekends. I know, because I talked to you guys a lot about it last year, that weekends are such a hang up, right? You need a weekend strategy, okay? a plan, not a perfect plan, but baseline behaviors that also plan for fun and relaxation. And this is one of my favorite strategies to talk about because weekends can actually be your superpower in your fat loss. So many women have it backwards. I love when my clients like come into my program and we work on this and they completely change into like weekends can get you ahead on your fat loss goals. And like you can switch from weekends being the hang up to weekends literally being your superpower for fat loss, all based on your strategy. Okay. So weekends, definitely having strategy there. Same thing with like sick days, days where you're PMSing, days where you didn't get a lot of sleep last night. If you've got babies, toddlers that are waking you, perimenopause symptoms waking you, minimum standards that don't cause you to vanish from your goals, from what you said you were going to do, and adjusting your expectations without dropping your identity. That is what this structure and strategy is all about. So again, some of those examples really are just like the most common ones, but whatever it is for you, whatever those sort of hangups are for you, I kind of listed out like, your cycle, and maybe it's all of it. Maybe it's truly all of it that you really want to create game plans for. But even just starting with one, like what is the one that knocks you off the most will absolutely work. For me, it was weekends, you guys. I used to hit Fridays and act like all bets are off. Okay. I was like, treat yourself. Okay. And now I run my weekend strategy and I enjoy myself. I enjoy my food. I did this my entire 100-pound weight loss journey. I do it anytime I'm in a fat loss phase. I do it in maintenance. I run my weekend identity and strategy, and it's not strict. And I'm not sitting there, oh, I can't have this. I can't have that. I don't even have that mindset. Instead, it's adulting. I said I wanted to feel good in my body. I said I wanted to hold these standards for myself. So I'm not worried about what I'm missing out on or, oh, I have to do this. Like I'm showing up and I'm feeling my best. I get the results. I still enjoy my food. I still enjoy downtime with my family. And my clients are the exact same way. The ones who win long-term aren't the ones who create the strictest plan and never eat out. Hear me when I say this, because I think sometimes women hear about I share like testimonials for the women who've lost their last 10 pounds all the way up to 80 plus pounds in my program. And I think sometimes we think, well, that means that, that person never ate out, never enjoyed their food. There's just this it had to have been really strict and they had to have made all of these sacrifices. I'm here to tell you, hear me out. That is not true. My clients who win, especially long-term, sure, that could be like a short-term strategy for how long? Let's be real, right? My clients who truly win at their weight loss and can keep it off are not the ones with the hardest, strictest plan. They're the ones who have a strategy and a structure in place that allows them to still crush it on busy days, to still crush it when there's social events going on. So what's really important is how you're framing your structure and your strategy. Strategy is not about restriction and all the things you can't have. It is about self-leadership and getting the results you came for, doing what you said you wanted to do, getting the things you wanted. So that's part 2. Okay, part 3 is recovery. Okay, so I want you just to think about this, like put all these pieces together. We've got our standards. This is our baseline, non-negotiables, what we're holding, that really easy anchored in identity, simple habits that keep us anchored in no matter what. Then we've got structure. That's the how we're planning these things, how we're ensuring that we're installing our automatic behaviors, and the strategy, those things that normally trip you up. And now the recovery, okay? Because we can't talk about any of this without talking about imperfect moments, because guess what? They're going to happen. You can have the best standards. You can have the most structured plan with all the strategy, and you are still going to have imperfect moments. So part 3, the recovery is all about the after moment. And I need you to take this part so seriously, okay? Recovery is a skill. It is literally a skill. This isn't about something that somebody else has that you don't have. And no, recovery is a skill, which means it can be learned and attained by absolutely anyone. And it is a skill that makes fat loss permanent. Recovery is a skill that makes fat loss permanent because it ends the start cycle once and for all. So the issue that most women have is rarely the moment where things go sideways. You have the extra cookie, you overeat the calories, you skip the workout. It's rarely the moment. It's the spiral that comes after. It's the, well, I already blew it, so I may as well just keep it going. That's where we end up in trouble, okay? So what I want you to know about recovery, it's so hard because I want to say like, this is the most important part. All three of these are crucial. If you're missing one of these, then you're missing a huge piece of the puzzle. So they're all important, but why I tend to want to say recovery is the most important is because recovery is extremely identity based, okay? So this is having a mantra, a mindset with yourself of, okay, I messed up. I wasn't supposed to do that. That wasn't a part of the plan, but I recover fast. I don't make it mean anything about me. I learn from it. I carry the lesson forward. I don't just forget it. I dust myself off. I get up and I go again. This is what separates women who lose weight temporarily from women who keep it off. And I also need you to understand that recovery needs to be simple. It doesn't need to be 17 steps. You need a simple recovery rule. None of this is like all this stuff to think about. All of this is actually really meant to make your life more simple, not more difficult. Again, dealing with this stuff, trying to figure it out as you go and handle it in the moment, that is where we just drain our energy. And yeah, it's easy to be like, okay, well, I'm giving up. I don't want to sit here and try to figure this out now. When we're proactive about it, it makes it so much easier to handle it when it comes your way. So a simple recovery rule, it cannot be complex, okay? So something like, I'm going to go meditate for an hour in complete darkness, like in complete silence. Like if you have kids or even, a partner that lives with you, like, that's not going to work. So when you have your little mess up moment and you're creating this sort of recovery rule or ritual for yourself, then it can't be something like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym after. Something simple, something that you can really do in the moment, something that can be done like boom, done. We're right back rolling right along, okay? Not, oh, I've got to wait to be able to journal about it. No, simple, right back to it. So my favorite one, if you want to steal it, is this. My next meal is in line with my standards. My next decision is aligned. I'm back. That's it. It's that simple. Next meal, in line with my standards. Next decision, aligned. I am back. No punishment, no compensation, no shame spiral, back to standard. See how we kind of came back to the top there? We started with the standard. We created some structure and some strategy. We've got this recovery moment, and it brings us back to the standard. So a simple rule works here. You can always, what I do with my clients once we get a little deeper into all of this, once you've learned to really stop yourself in the moment, you can take it further and really create like an after moment protocol where it really kind of anchors all of this in. But just to start, a simple recovery rule. Because here's the deal. You don't lose the weight for the last time by never messing up. You lose the weight for the last time by never quitting. Never quitting. So bringing it back to this idea of negotiating with yourself, I want you to think about like the negotiating that you've been doing, right? Like looking back at this last year. What is that negotiation that you do? And I want you to start seeing that negotiation is truly the gap between the life you want, the body you want, and the defaults you were practicing. You got to start to really see how all of that connects. So just some common negotiation moments that I see from clients before they come into my world. These are the things we work on. After work, that like overstimulated nervous system shot, and you turn to like the crunchy, salty snacks, and then 400 calories later, you're like, blew it. And I have to eat dinner because I'm hungry because cashews didn't actually fill me up. The 7 p.m. pantry raid after dinner where you just like have to have something sweet to soothe. That's that negotiation moment when you're like, oh, like I shouldn't be doing it, but like just this one time, right? How about like the weekend exception, right? Speaking of weekends, right? The weekend exception of like, oh, like it's the weekend. I just want to relax. This is how I relax. Work so hard, right? So I'm just going to eat whatever, sleep in, throw everything away, no movement, whatever. Drink all the drinks, whatever. Eating out, same thing. Like we're eating out. We may as well just eat whatever I want because I'm tired, we're busy, blah, 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 blah. That same old story, song and dance. Probably the most common one is like what I call like the stress permission slip, right? This stress permission slip where you throw it all away, you backslide because something's stressing you out. Maybe the scale isn't cooperating and doing what you want. Maybe your cycle is making you cranky. Maybe perimenopause makes you feel like a stranger in your body. Maybe your partner is pissing you off because they're eating whatever they want, even though they said that they were going to do this with you. Maybe your kids, you're trying to parent and raise these kids to be good humans, and you're trying to keep up with all of their activities and school and life stuff while simultaneously wanting time and energy and wanting more and better for yourself, right? And then you've got work obligations and add to it, whatever, family stressors, whatever. And that stress permission slip is where you convince yourself that it's okay. It's okay to abandon yourself. It's okay to abandon what you said you wanted to do because life is hard. Well, it's not okay. It's not okay anymore because you know that it's not serving you, and you can have so much love and grace for yourself because yes, life is hard. It is hard, and we're all showing up and we're doing the best we can, but we cannot spend another year abandoning ourselves in these moments and staying stuck in the same loop that you so desperately say you want out of. So it is time to stop negotiating with yourself, okay? So I know I'm hitting you hard. Look, here's the deal. Let's just paint the cost of what it means if you keep this old default, right? Like you keep paying the same tax. You're going to stay stuck in the 7 p.m. pantry battle, the mental noise around food, the Sunday night regret. Oh my gosh, like, oh, how have I done this again, once again? The same starting over. Oh, the tax of starting over. You have got to start realizing what that is costing you. Seriously. Feeling like you can't trust yourself. I think that's my number one. Like nobody likes feeling uncomfortable in their body, but can we just talk about feeling like you can't trust yourself has to be the worst feeling in the world. The worst. So the list could go on. I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about this, but I want you just to think about what is the cost of continuing with these old defaults? What are you going to like continue? What's it going to look like? What's it going to look like, right? We cannot keep running them. But on the flip side, when you install what we just talked about with these goal body defaults, can we just have a moment for the reason I'm so passionate about this and so lit up is I guys, it is not lost on me. It is not that far behind me to remember and know what it feels like to be stuck in all of this. Why do you feel like I am spying on you? Because I lived it. I'm not sitting up here, talking to you from my 2 degrees and 9 years of experience. I'm talking to you from, I was there. I did it. I've lived it. I know. And I also know what it's like to be on the other side. the confidence that you have in yourself, the going to dinner and not spiraling after, beating yourself up after vacations, travel, you have a busy week and you just stay connected to your standards and you stay connected to yourself and you feel proud, not because you were perfect, but because you actually followed through. You actually held the transformation for yourself and your body changes, your identity changes, and it just lasts. Like it just finally lasts. You finally get off of the roller coaster once and for all. So remember, when you're thinking through all of the work that you have to do to install these defaults, we're not here to add more to our plate. We are here to remove the mental tug of war and to get to a place where this is all just running on autopilot and you get the results and you make the progress and you're just living with peace and freedom and confidence and no fear that you're going to gain it back anymore. So I want you to think about and build your goal body default, starting with your standards. Pick 3 you can keep or pick 1. Start with 1 to 3. Pick your structure and your strategy. Really think about that. Again, I'm going to dig into some of this a little bit more, but pick that structure and what are those situations, right? Or pick the one situation that tends to knock you off and come up with a game plan for it. And then your recovery rule. One sentence, one mantra, something that you're going to follow every time because you know living this life realistically, it's going to happen. So what is your recovery rule? What is that one sentence that you can pull out every single time? And if this all hit home, if you are hearing all of this and you're like, yes, I know. I need to work on all of this. You are going to love what we're doing all month long across the podcast, my YouTube channel. The YouTube is where I'm going to really show you like the how, give you sort of this like embodied kind of workshop style. So definitely, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, that is linked below or in the show notes, depending on if you're watching or listening. And then as well as the podcast, I've got my episodes all lined out and we're ending the month talking about one of my clients who installed and rebranded herself, Camille, which is going to be so amazing. I cannot wait for you guys to hear Camille's story. So inspiring. And so then the email community, definitely get inside of my free insider email community because I'm going to be sharing actual resources for you to put all of this into place. So you guys are going to love this. And if you want to speed this process along, if you're like, don't want to wait all month, then you've got 2 options. You can come into Goal Body Coaching with me and we can fast track all of this. We can get it going right now, especially if you know you need to be in the room of accountability, support, women who are doing this alongside you with my expert eyes and guidance, actually holding you accountable, actually coaching you through all of this and giving you that support so that we can spend the next 6 months getting this done and not hoping that we're going to do it and trying at it, but like literally making the moves. Goal Body Coaching, that's linked in the show notes as well. Or you can get my Train Your Brain for Forever Fat Loss mindset system. So you can now get the exact mindset system that I used, that I coach my clients through. This has previously just been privately for my clients. You can get the Train Your Brain for Forever Fat Loss mindset system, and you can do this work. I am gifting you the keys to do this work. Everything that I'm talking about, this is where you're going to go so much deeper. So if that's you, if you're like, don't know that I need like the full-blown coaching, but Hillary, I need the mindset side. I know I need that. Check out the show notes. Check out Train Your Brain for Forever Fat Loss. It also comes with my Becoming Her training. It's everything. It's my baby. It is my entire mindset system. So it is the whole shebang in one place. So, ow, my elbow. I knew I was going to do that eventually, but I'm just so excited. So yay. Okay, you guys. So all of these things linked in the show notes. Again, I want you to really think about installing these defaults for yourself. If this is the year that you are going to stop negotiating stop gaining and losing the same weight, stop the start over cycle, then this is the work we've got to start doing, this identity work and installing a new default system. And I truly believe that this is going to be the year that so many of you decide this is who you are now. There is no going back, and you will truly finally get your goal body and keep it for life. So thank you so much, you guys. Check out the notes for all the goodies. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.